seeing a woman enjoy giving head. And I feel like so many of you are rushing head, or you're just giving head as a transactional response. And we don't like transactional sex. Transactional sex is gross. It's like, he does this, then I do that. He does this, then I do that. He does this, then I do that. No, it's so lame. Like, yes, we want to have a balance of giving and taking, or giving and receiving, but it's not about the transaction. It's about the reciprocal relationship. It's about the balance. And if you want him to enjoy giving you head and eating you out, then surely he wants you to enjoy giving him head, right? It goes both ways. How can you expect him to really enjoy eating you out and do it for a long time and trying different techniques and tools? Hello, beautiful humans, and welcome back to another episode of Sync and Flow, the podcast. I'm so excited to have you here today. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, rate, and review. If you are listening on Apple or Spotify, make sure you rate and review, take a screenshot, and send me a DM on Instagram. All my links are in the description below. Send me a DM of that screenshot, and I will send you a freebie to thank you for reviewing and engaging with this podcast. I've been tracking the weekly downloads, and I'm really happy to see that they have been increasing steadily every week. And I just want to thank you so much if you are a regular listener and supporter of this show. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. There are no sponsors for the show. Everything comes out of my own pocket, and that pocket isn't very deep. So this show is really a labor of love to you guys. I really hope that you enjoy listening just as much as I enjoy making these episodes for you. And I also just want to let you know that if you ever have a topic or a question that you would like me to discuss on the podcast, again, send me a DM on Instagram, and I'm more than happy to hear your suggestions and feedback. And also make sure to send these episodes to your friends, to your family, in your girly group chat, babies. Please, it really helps me so much. So I have a little bit of a life update for you guys. If you're not interested in a life update, make sure to just skip ahead a couple minutes, because the last episode I recorded was the end of June, and now we are on the 1st of August. So there's been a lot that has happened in the last 5-6 weeks, and I'm really excited to share about that with you guys. I feel like this podcast is such a intimate way that I get to share my life with you guys. And if you're interested, yay, thank you for being here. If you're not interested, that's totally okay, and you just want to get to the juicy episode, feel free to skip ahead, okay? So the last episode I recorded, I was in Mallorca. I was staying at this villa of this girl that I actually just met the previous week at a gallery opening. It was an interactive gallery experience, dinner, community kind of experience, really interesting. And then it was her birthday, and at this birthday party I met a whole bunch of really cool people who were also going to a festival that I went to the following week. So at the beginning of July, I flew from Mallorca to Barcelona. I met my bestie Liv in Barcelona, and then together we traveled with a bus to Nowhere Burn. As you can see, Nowhere Burn is the Spanish equivalent of Africa Burn. So you guys may or may not know, I regularly attend Africa Burn, which is the Burning Man regional event that happens in South Africa, end of April, beginning of May. It is the biggest regional event outside of Burning Man with 13,000 people. I have been going since I was 13 years old, and it has absolutely undoubtedly changed my life. If you're listening to this and you ever feel the call or the pull to go to Africa Burn, I highly recommend it. That place is so magical, it's so spiritual, it's so creative. You will always go to Africa Burn and come back a different person, no matter how many times you've been before. Every single time you go to any burn experience, actually, you become a whole new version of yourself. And they truly are that magical, that transformative, and you never know who you're gonna meet. So yeah, beginning of July, I was at Nowhere Burn, and that was amazing. It was only 3,000 people, so it's a lot smaller than Africa Burn, and it was super intimate, super cozy. A lot of beautiful connections were made. It was also super kinky and super sex positive, which is something that I'm wanting to take back to Africa Burn, as unfortunately South Africa is still quite a conservative culture when it comes to sex positivity. We have one of the highest rates of sexual abuse in the world, one of the highest rape statistics in the world, which is very sad. And so because of these prevalent statistics, as well as a very conservative culture, South Africa and Africa Burn are not as sex positive and consent driven as they should and could be. And so that's why it was so incredible for me to go to Nowhere Burn, because it really showed me how healthy sex positive culture can be integrated into a festival environment, and how important things like consent are, that we talk about this, that we have workshops around this, that there are signs and information all over, including in the toilets, about consent culture. What is consent and what does it mean to have a consensual sexual experience, right? And so I'm really excited to bring back these lessons and codes to Africa Burn, to the workshops and spaces that I am facilitating and co-creating. Nowhere Burn was incredible. It was really a lot more workshop interaction, community and intimacy focused, and less party focused, whereas I find Africa Burn is much more party focused, celebration focused. It's very spiritual, but there's a massive focus on rave culture at Africa Burn, as well as art, whereas at Nowhere Burn, the art was about the people. The art was about the bodies. The art was about the interactions and the connections and the intimacy and the sex positive spaces, okay? So I'm not going to get too deep into what sex positive means. I would love to unpack that on another podcast episode, as I feel it's really important and something I would love to bring more to you guys, as not many people know what sex positive spaces are, not many people know what consent culture is. And since Easter that I attended in December, I have been really training and involving myself more and more in sex positive spaces. And so today I am recording this episode from Berlin, and Berlin has a very sex positive culture. If you've traveled here, if you've partied here, if you've spent any time here engaging with the people in the city and the culture and the clubs especially, you will know there is a very queer, trans positive, LGBTQI positive influence in the city. And that just is what makes the city so fucking special, is how inclusive it is, how accepting of diversity and variety this city is. And that's definitely one of the reasons I am completely in love with Berlin. It's one of my second homes. It's my home away from home. I have a lot of friends that live here, a lot of connections that live here. I lived here for 6 months in 2023. If you've been listening to the podcast for a long time, you may or may not know this. And the last episode I recorded, I was single and poly, and now I'm recording this episode in a relationship and monogamous. So that's another thing I really want to get into in a future episode, probably within the Date Like a Goddess series, about poly versus monogamy and which relationship styles are best and which one should you choose and what path are you on right now. Because remember, there's no right or wrong, there's only personal preference and contextual choice. So that's really exciting. I'm actually recording this in the apartment of my lover, and I've like kind of soft launched him a little bit on my Instagram stories recently. Maybe you saw, maybe you didn't, but yeah, I'm really excited. Maybe within the next month I will most probably post him, because when you're in love, you just want to like tell everyone about it. You want to scream it from the fucking rooftops. You want everyone to know that you're in love, or at least that's how I feel. I have my Venus in Leo. I get very proud of being in love, and I get very proud of those who I love, and I want to share that love with the world and tell everyone all about it. But yeah, it's really exciting. We actually met at Africa Burn and fell in love like pretty fucking quickly, which is what happens when you are a burner and your heart is open and you're expanded and you're ready to fall in love, right? Love is not something that just happens. It's something that you have to prepare for. And so I, for the last year and a half, have been calling in a new soulmate love, manifesting him and preparing myself energetically, emotionally, mentally, and physically to get into a deep, loving, committed, devotional relationship again. Because if you've been following me for a while, you may or may not know, about 2 years ago, I went through a really intense breakup that really broke my heart so deeply. I'm really excited to make another episode for you guys all about how to heal from heartbreak and how to turn your heartbreak into your hot girl healing era, which is exactly what I did 2 years ago when I was living in Berlin for 6 months. And that's where all the pussy power codes started coming to me, started activating. And yeah, I really turned one of the biggest, most heartbreaking, painful experiences of my life into one of the most empowering, transformational experiences and healing opportunities. As you know, I'm an alchemist. This is what we do. I'm a witch. This is what we do. We turn our pain into our power. And so this is what I help my clients do. So if you would like to be a client of mine, check out the links below. Go to my website, book a free 30-minute discovery call, and I can help you turn your biggest pain, your biggest heartbreak, your biggest trauma into your greatest fucking pleasure and power. Okay, baby, that's the road. That's the transformation that happens when you work with me. So thank you for listening to my life update. That was a little bit longer than expected, but let's jump into today's episode. I'm really excited about today's episode. We are talking about something super juicy, super cheeky, super spicy, super naughty, as you should just expect with me, because I love talking about anything that combines sex, wellness, health, self-development, and pleasure, right, baby? Because, honestly, like, what is life about being a woman other than being in pleasure, right? Like, that is truly why we do all this deep healing work, is to open ourselves up to heal and receive even more pleasure and even more orgasms and even more juiciness and even more beauty than ever before. That is what healing is all about. It's about the pleasure and the transformation on the other side of the healing, right? And sometimes when you're healing, it can be really fucking hard and really difficult and really painful, but knowing that there is so much pleasure and juiciness and orgasms, never-ending orgasms on the other side of that can make it so much easier and so much more worth it. So today's episode is all about how to give the best head of your life, how to enjoy giving BJs, blowjobs, okay? How to love worshiping cock, how to really enjoy it and experience this beautiful thing called a throatgasm. Okay, you heard that right. A throat orgasm. And this is totally fucking possible for you. This is totally fucking possible for every single woman, because I have experienced this firsthand and I didn't even know it existed until I experienced it. And even today on Instagram, I saw Kim Anami making a post about it, and she's the only other person that I think really talks about these sorts of things, because these are layers of sexuality that you will never hear about in porn. You will never hear about them in Cosmo. You will never hear about them in general sex, health, and wellness coaches talking about these sorts of things, because they're super taboo and they're also really edgy. You know, people just think about, oh, I can just have vaginal orgasms and cervical orgasms and clitoral orgasms, but people forget that the entire female body is coded for pleasure. And so technically you can have an orgasm pretty much in every part of your body. I've had an eargasm, I've had throatgasms, I've had heartgasms, I've had breastgasms, I've had anal orgasms, all the rest. I've had even a knee orgasm. We have so many erotic sensory receptors all over our body. Erogenous zones is what they're called. And it is totally possible for us to experience pleasure in all parts of our body. And so the trick to experiencing a throatgasm is to actually enjoy giving a blowjob. Is to actually enjoy giving head and going down on your man. Truly, I feel like a lot of women do not enjoy giving head. Truly, I feel like a lot of women are actually low-key scared of cock. You're probably just scared of cock because you haven't actually given the time to explore cock. Maybe you've rushed through sex. Maybe you've rushed through giving head. Maybe you have always let your partner do more of the work and you've just laid there and receive. And while there's nothing wrong with that, it's important when you are in a healthy sexual relationship that there is a healthy amount of give and take, which means sometimes you give a little bit more and he takes a little bit more, and sometimes you take a little bit more and he gives a little bit more, right? When we actually start to engage with penises, we start to look at them, we start to study them, we start to research them. And I don't mean research in terms of reading about books and things on the internet. Sure, you can do research that way, but I'm talking about doing experiential research as in playing with your partner's cock, having time for sexy play time. This is so important, where you get to take time to explore each other's bodies. You get to take time to explore his body, explore his genitals, explore his cock, his balls, his perineum, which is that cute little space between the balls and the anus. Get to explore his anus, get to explore his butt cheeks, get to explore his whole body. And once you've explored someone's body, that is experiential research. And so when you explore his body, you get to start to see, okay, what happens when I touch this part like that? What happens when I kiss this part like that? What happens when I lick this part like that? For men, their heart opens and activates through their cock. For women, our yoni activates and opens through our heart. So for men, we're always activating the heart through the cock, but for women, we need our pussies activated through our heart. And so you always need to go to the on switch. For women, our pussies turn on through our heart, but for men, their hearts turn on through their cock. And so that's why when you are wanting to engage with a man, you always start to stimulate his cock first. And once you've stimulated his cock, then you can bring your hand to his heart and invite him to breathe deeper into his belly and deeper into his chest, into his heart chakra, to connect his heart and his sex. I love to do this, especially when I'm on top and sitting on his lap, whether he's inside of me or not. I love to place my hand on his heart and almost just start to rub his heart, start to do a little bit of energy work, start to activate that space, just to remind him energetically, subconsciously, and consciously to connect his cock to his heart. That's one step. The next thing is that besides doing research on your partner's body, you need to enjoy giving head. You need to enjoy having cock in your mouth. You need to enjoy really giving him the gift of a blowjob, the gift of his cock in your mouth. You need to enjoy this experience, because if you're not enjoying it, then how do you expect him to enjoy it? And I promise you, there is nothing that men love more and that turns them on more than seeing a woman enjoy giving head. And I feel like so many of you are rushing head, or you're just giving head as a transactional response. And we don't like transactional sex. Transactional sex is gross. It's like he does this, then I do that. He does this, then I do that. He does this, then I do that. No, it's so lame. Like, yes, we want to have a balance of giving and taking or giving and receiving, but it's not about the transaction. It's about the reciprocal relationship. It's about the balance. And if you want him to enjoy giving you head and eating you out, then surely he wants you to enjoy giving him head, right? It goes both ways. How can you expect him to really enjoy eating you out and do it for a long time and trying different techniques and tools and sucking, kissing, licking, spitting, all sorts of different techniques if you're not willing to try all of those different techniques with him on his cock? Right? And so this is why playtime, sexy playtime, and body research is so important, because you get to see, what does he like? What doesn't he like? What do I like giving versus what does he like receiving, right? And different strokes for different folks. And that's why there's no right or wrong way to have sex or to give head. It's just about being aware of your partner's needs and desires and listening to them, especially if they give you feedback, right? I am never afraid to give my partner feedback, and you shouldn't be either. And so I really want you to be open to receiving feedback, especially if you're not that confident giving head. I want you to ask your partner, can you give me feedback? Can you tell me what I'm doing that's great and that you enjoy versus what I'm doing that you don't really enjoy, or things that are, kind of average or don't give you a lot of sensation, right? So being open to feedback. So step 1 is exploring each other's bodies, bodily research. Step 2 is enjoying giving head, learning to enjoy cock in your mouth, learning to enjoy playing with his cock, learning to enjoy the act of exploring his genitals. Step 3, asking for feedback. Being open to receiving feedback, asking him, do you like this? Is this enjoyable? Should I continue? Do you like it like this versus do you like it like that? And giving him a variety of techniques and sensations as a way of figuring out what he most enjoys. If you would like to learn how to technically give better head, I cannot show you this on a podcast. We have limited time here. But if you would like to learn how to give better head and have me show you techniques, then please join my 6-week group coaching program, Liberated Womb. Inside chapter 5, Sex Goddess, I give all the techniques of how you can improve your head game. So for now, I'm just giving you a theory lecture, an oral lecture of how to do this. But if you would like to see these techniques in practice and learn more techniques, because there are certain ways of giving pleasure to a penis, to a cock, that can really enhance not only your experience, but his experience too, or their experience, whatever gender the penis owner is, right? So yeah, this is really important. Like, the more you enjoy giving, going back to step 2, the more you enjoy giving pleasure to a penis, the more you're going to want to explore it, the more you're going to want to try different things, the more you're going to be curious as to, how can I increase his pleasure? How can I increase this sensation? How can I make this sensation last longer? How can I draw this sensation out a little bit more instead of it being so quick and snappy and really high intensity, and how can I make this pleasure a little bit more exaggerated, a little bit more drawn out, a little bit prolonged, okay? Because when you prolong pleasure, you also allow him to ride the waves of pleasure in his own body. And this is also when you can encourage him to breathe. You can encourage him to breathe breathe deeper. You can encourage him to, especially if he struggles with premature ejaculation or not being able to last as long as you would like him to. I really enjoy giving head, as I'm sure you've guessed. I like to give head for like at least 10 minutes. I want to make that a whole fucking experience. I want to make that a whole section or chapter of the sexual playtime, you know? And I want to make sure that he remembers the head that I give him, because I'm not giving head every single time I'm having sex, no. But when I do give head, I want it to be memorable. I want it to be long lasting. I want it to be like, oh my God, baby, you're giving me the best blowjob of my life. Like, fuck yes. Because, like, wouldn't you want the same? When someone's eating you out, wouldn't you want the same? It's just like so beautiful when you can actually start to enjoy these sorts of sexual experiences and really just give from that space of like, I'm giving, but I'm also enjoying giving, right? And so then it becomes this like passionate thing where like he's passionate because he's really enjoying the pleasure that you're giving him. And then you become even more passionate because you are enjoying the experience as well, because you're enjoying exploring his cock in your mouth. You're enjoying exploring his genitals with your tongue, with your mouth, with your saliva. So it becomes super fucking pleasurable. And you get to play with different angles, maybe putting it in your cheek. Sometimes I like to rub the tip on the top of my palate, like the roof of my mouth. I love, especially when he gets like super hard. I love like rubbing his cock there. It's so good. And sometimes I even feel it in my pussy. I feel his cock in my pussy, but his cock is actually in my mouth, right? So yeah, it can get really yummy and juicy, especially if you have been working with me, softening your womb space, opening your womb, activating your pussy power. Like the more you activate and open your womb and your pussy, the more you're going to start to feel sensations and sexual energy in other parts of your body that will activate your womb and pussy at the same time. Okay, like when I'm dancing, I'm not touching my pussy, I'm not touching my womb, but I'm activating them. I can feel the sexual energy flow. I can feel my pussy open. I can feel my womb relax. I can feel the juices flowing in and out of my vagina. And when I have his cock in my mouth, I really love to play with different points of contact, of skin to skin, of his cock against my cheek, his cock against my roof of my mouth, his cock against my tongue, his cock in the back of my throat, okay? So really we are using all parts of the mouth to engage with all parts of his cock. Then I'm going to get to the next step or the next part where we're going to talk about deep throating now, because this is really fucking important. You cannot have a throatgasm without deep throating, and you cannot deep throat if you are afraid of gagging. Okay, my friend the other day told me that she is afraid of vomiting, and so she doesn't really have a gag reflex. She struggles to gag. She's afraid of vomiting. She has this fear. It's really irrational, but like she needs to figure that out, right? It's probably like an emotional psychosomatic thing. And so if that is you, then like, baby girl, either you get over that or you never experience a throatgasm for the rest of your life and you just kind of accept that. But honestly, like experiencing throatgasms is pretty fucking badass and it feels pretty fucking amazing. And the way that we experience a throatgasm is through the process of deep throating. And so if you have experienced deep throating, you know that in the beginning, it takes some time to warm your throat up. Just like any other muscle in your body, your throat is a muscle. You have to warm it up. It can expand and contract, expanding through heat, contracting through cold. And the more you expand your throat through giving good head, through giving deep head, the more you warm your throat up. Your throat and your yoni are deeply connected. When you do a cross section of a larynx, which is the throat area, with a cross section of the womb and vaginal canal, you can see that the larynx and vaginal canal are almost identical. The throat and the womb are connected through the vagus nerve. Our vagus nerve runs from the back of our brainstem down our central column and ends at the tip of our cervix. And so every time you talk or create vibration through humming, through singing, through deep breathing, you stimulate your vagus nerve. And when your vagus nerve is stimulated, you go into your parasympathetic nervous system, otherwise known as rest and digest, rest and relax. And this is when you can really just soften. You can be relaxed. You can be open to receiving. You can be surrendered. You can be in the present moment. Okay, activating your parasympathetic nervous system is super important whenever you're engaging in sexual experiences, because no one wants to be stressed out and in their sympathetic nervous system when you're having sex, because like, what's the fucking point? You're just going to be in your head, you're going to be overthinking, you're going to be stressed, you're going to be just all these horrible symptoms. You're going to have raised levels of cortisol, and you can't have raised levels of cortisol and feel pleasure at the same time. Those two are completely contrasting opposite ideas. It's really important to stimulate your vagus nerve. And that's why making sound in sex and moaning and sounding your pleasure is super important, because the sound vibrates your vagus nerve, which softens, relaxes, and puts you into parasympathetic. And once you're in parasympathetic, that is when you can start to orgasm. That is when your oxytocin starts to increase and you can start to experience so much more pleasure. So like I said, you have to first warm up the throat, and whenever you give deep throat head, you need to take a deep breath and then you go for it, okay? Because it's really hard to breathe and like give head at the same time. Especially the deeper you go, it's harder to breathe. And so that's why you almost have to take a deep breath and then hold your breath for about 30 seconds while you give deep throat, okay? And I know it can sound a little bit crazy, a little bit scary, but I promise you it is worth it. And once you warm up your throat, that is when you can start to slowly approach the possibility of having a throatgasm. But you cannot warm up your throat and you cannot give deep head if you, every time you're about to gag, you pull out, okay? The gagging is a fundamental part of the process, baby. You have to understand this. Gagging is a fundamental part of the process. And so what you have to do is you have to feel that gag response, and you actually have to keep going. Don't just stop and pull out, but you have to keep going, because as you gag, what happens is your throat loosens and softens and almost like releases its own juices. As you gag, you release more saliva, and that makes giving head so much easier. It makes it more pleasant for your partner, and at the same time, you are warming up your throat's capacity for juiciness, okay? And the juicier it gets, the more expanded and pleasurable, the more sexual energy you start to feel in your throat area. This is all up to you to be curious about. It's up to you to experiment. Do it and then take a break and breathe and catch your breath back. Take a sip of water and then try again, okay? Because I'm not telling you to suffocate yourself here. No, I'm telling you to be curious, to be open to what I am telling you, and then to try again, okay? But you're not going to experience what I'm telling you. You're not going to experience a throatgasm if you don't push past the gagging sensation. Like if you're worried you're going to vomit, like who fucking cares, babe? Like, maybe try this on an empty stomach in the beginning. I mean, I've done this after dinner, and like, I did almost throw up on his cock. Kind of did a little bit. It only happened like once, but it wasn't even with someone I really care about, so like, who gives a fuck anyway? But yeah, be open, be curious, maybe try it on an empty stomach to begin with, because sometimes if you do gag too much, you can chunder just a little bit. Yeah, that is kind of the sensation we want to go for. We want to push past the gagging, but stop before we vomit, okay? And so what happens is you will be gagging, and then all of a sudden, your throat just softens, opens, and almost just like shoots out this liquid. And as that liquid comes out, you start to feel this shooting, opening, liquid, juicy sensation in your pussy too. Okay? And so what I feel it's this like vibration of energy that just shoots down from my throat into my pussy. And as my throat softens and gets juicier and wetter, so does my pussy. I feel this reverberation of energy down my vagus nerve from my throat all the way down and into my pussy. And so as my throat goes ah, so does my pussy go ah, right? And this is why making noises is also super important. It helps to move the energy. It helps to send the sexual energy where it needs to go, especially breathing. Breathing in through the nose and out the mouth. Making sighing noises, making sounds, like breathing in and down. Instead of breathing up and out, we are breathing in and down, pushing the energy down into the ground, down into our pelvis, down into our, and this is how we are going to transmute sexual energy and flow sexual energy throughout our entire body. So I really hope that this episode was helpful. I hope it gave you some ideas. I hope it encouraged you. I hope it made you excited to start exploring giving head and blowjobs in a whole new way, with a whole different mindset, with a whole different approach. Okay, use movement, sound, and breath. When you are giving head, don't just stay in one position. Move your body, undulate your spine, move your hips. Bounce your pussy, bounce your breasts, like move that energy through your body. These are the tantric principles: movement, sound, and breath. And this is how we are going to move sexual energy throughout our body and make sure that we are really having a full body sexual experience, which means that the sex and sexual energy isn't just located in our pussy and in our genitals, but the sexual energy can flow throughout our body and allow us to have full-bodied sexual experiences where the sexual energy flows throughout our entire system, okay? This throatgasm experience only happened to me after I healed my womb, after I reclaimed my pussy power, after I started getting in touch with these feminine energies and parts of my body that are super sacred and super powered by sexual energy. So if this sounds like something that's totally out of your reach, start there. Start with healing your relationship to your pussy. Can you even say the word pussy? What is your relationship with your menstrual cycle? Are you still on birth control? Are you connected to your womb space, right? So all of these things are going to be able to determine whether or not you can or cannot have a throatgasm. Are you in touch with your breasts as a sexual stimulation point? Do you do breast massage? Are you experiencing full body orgasms, right? Because once you know how to transmute and transmit and move sexual energy throughout your body, which is what I teach my clients inside of Liberated Womb, how to do this with intention, with breath, with awareness, with sound, with movement. Once you know how to move sexual life force energy, also known as Kundalini, also known as Shakti, once you know how to move this throughout your body, experiencing things like throatgasms, breastgasms, heartgasms, eargasms, throatgasms, mouthgasms, whatever you want to call it, like they become second nature. You know, it's not like, oh, I'm trying to have a throatgasm. It's like, no, the throatgasm happened to me as a byproduct of me releasing tension and trauma from my body and hydrating my fascia, opening my muscles, relaxing my muscles, opening my fascia, softening my body, softening my jaw, right? There's a lot of tension that we hold in our jaws. The tension in our jaws is also directly reflective of the tension we hold in our pelvis. So yeah, all of these things are connected. And if you want to experience life-changing throatgasms and give life-changing head to your partner or lovers, then really your journey needs to start with healing your womb, my darling. And so I have 5 spaces for one-to-one coaching this August. If this is you, you would like to start your feminine energy healing journey, your womb healing journey, your menstrual cycle healing journey, if you want to heal from trauma and any experiences, limiting beliefs that you feel are blocking you from being your most abundant, radiant, magnetic, sexy, sensual, feminine self, please get in touch with me. All the links are in the description below, and I would love to support you. I have 6-week, 12-week, and 6-month coaching containers. Otherwise, you can also sign up for Liberated Womb, which is a 6-week online program which has so much juicy content in it. And if you do the 12-week or 6-month one-to-one coaching packages, Liberated Womb is automatically added into that. Okay, so thank you for listening, thank you for being here. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, like, share with friends. Send me a screenshot of your review and your rating. I will say on Instagram, and I will send you a lovely little freebie as a thank you gift. Yeah, babies, I'll see you in the next episode. I love you. Goodbye for now. Mwah.